All right, guys, welcome back to a brand new video. We just had an absolutely stunning meeting in the Oval Office between Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani and Donald Trump. And frankly, it was a love fest. I mean, your takeaway from that meeting has to be Trump loves Mamdani. Like, it is legitimately insane. We're going to show you a bunch of clips from this of some of the things that Trump was saying about Zohran. I mean, totally insane. Basically conceded, like, yeah, we agree on a lot more than I thought. He's actually going to be a great mayor, I think. Like, totally insane. Like, I'm telling you right now, a bunch of Republicans and people in the media are not going to be very happy about this because they were expecting a lot of the narrative going in is, oh, Trump is going to really show it to Mamdani. He's going to destroy him. Quite the opposite. It was a literal love fest. A number of issues, for example, like Mamdani really said, even calling out Trump to his face by saying, we spoke about a number of issues like we do not want to be supporting the genocide in the Gaza Strip with the U.S. tax money. And Trump was like nodding away, like completely insane, and saying he's a good politician, giving him a lot of credit. And I think what it really comes down to, guys, is Trump respects people like Mamdani who, hey, they came out of nowhere, they're good politicians, and he respects power like that. You gotta, that's how he operates, that's how he's always operated, and that's how he's gotten to the position he's gotten in his life, becoming the president of the United States. So I do think he respects that aspect of Mamdani, and he's very charismatic, and Trump probably sees some of himself in the sense where, hey, this guy came out of nowhere, came in as anti-establishment, even though Trump now is 100% part of the Republican establishment. But that's a different story for a different time. But again, super interesting stuff. And there's a number of clips here. There's one in particular, which is totally insane, where a reporter asked Mamdani, is Trump a fascist? And Trump basically saved him and was like, oh, you don't have to answer that. You can say yes. And Mamdani's like, yes, he is. In front of Trump. Like, totally insane. And, Trump basically said we're going to be supporting New York City. We plan on helping the mayor out. So, again, incredibly smart politics by the mayor-elect of New York City. So let's just get right into the clips and we'll address everything afterwards. So here's a bunch of the clips coming out of the meeting. Totally wild stuff. Trump praising Zohran Mamdani. Here it is, and we'll talk about it in just a couple minutes.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yes.
It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't. But she's out there campaigning, and you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of...
She's a very capable person.
Isn't
But
that a kind of label?
you really have to ask her about that. But I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York, we had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost. The new word is affordability. Another you. Go ahead, please.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to. But you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views, but in many ways, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on, tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes.
Okay, so again, really a political masterclass from Zohran Mamdani there. I mean, again, first of all, the first question, it just goes to show you how disassociated the U.S. Congress is from like reality. A House statement condemning socialism, that is what the House Congress is focusing on right now. Totally ridiculous. Like, are you kidding me? This is what the Congress is focusing on. Condemnation of socialism. Ridiculous. And basically he says, you know what? He stands by his position. I'm a democratic socialist. I'm proud of it. And he stays on message, talking about affordability, making New York City great. And that's kind of where he's at. And Trump, nods away approvingly, like pretty wild stuff. And again, the next clip with Elise Stefanik, who is the Republican candidate who has no chance of winning, let's just be very clear about that, running for governor of New York, who's openly calling Zohran a jihadist, which is, again, just totally insane and just blatant Islamophobic. I mean, it's totally insane. And, Trump is basically like, yeah, no, he's not a jihadist, actually. I don't agree with her. So, like, dumping on his own candidate, who basically, she can't say that anymore without losing any credibility, because they can just say, well, the president doesn't even agree with you. He knows you're lying when you say that. So, again, destroying her credibility in this meeting. And it also just takes the fangs off a bunch of these right-wing attacks against Zohran, basically because Trump is like, yeah, no, I don't agree with that at all. Wild that Zohran was able to accomplish this. And again, staying on message with affordability. He even gets Trump to concede, saying, yeah, I actually agree with a lot of what he's saying about affordability and a lot of his policy. They seem very rational. I'm talking with a very rational man. What? I mean, the fact that Zohran was able to accomplish this is totally insane. So, again, yeah, some of the same ideas that I have. The fact that he got Trump to say that is totally wild. And again, he even concedes, yeah, I would feel totally comfortable living in New York City, which is, again, a stunning concession by the president that he's saying this. Giving Zohran a lot of credit for his campaign. Again, saying you're on an incredible campaign, which he did, obviously. And we agree on a lot. And then he actually brings up a good point, the president, when he's like, listen, Bernie Sanders, for example, he got destroyed, or he didn't get destroyed. He lost the election to Hillary Clinton very unfairly with the superdelegate system. That's a whole different story. And he's correct where he said a lot of Bernie voters went to Trump because, again, Trump was viewed at the time as the anti-establishment candidate, how we're getting ripped off on trade and a number of different things. A lot of Bernie voters in the populist left went to the populist right in Trump. And he's absolutely correct when he says that's a lot of what Mamdani is talking about as well. That's why you saw a lot of people, some people who voted for Trump, who voted for Mamdani, cross party lines. And Trump is correct when he brings that up. And listen, you got to say, masterclass by Zohran, getting Trump to, if anyone thought that it was possible that Mamdani got Trump to concede with a number of his policy prescriptions, and frankly, he called him a fascist and Trump was okay with it. What? That is totally out of control, insane. But listen, really good meeting. And I do give the president credit, like actually saying, okay, a lot of the attacks against him are completely ridiculous. And even conceding a lot of his policy proposals are actually not that crazy at all. They're very rational. He's focusing on affordability. What's so bad about that? So you got to give him a lot of credit there. And Zohran did a masterclass on this. And let's be honest, the federal government, if they're supporting New York, that's going to be better for everyone as a whole. So, and Mamdani, as of now, got what he needed to do in this meeting. So good for him. Good for the president actually having a meeting with him and not being like a total jackass about it. So really good job by the mayor-elect there. So, really wild stuff. If anyone thought this was possible, all the right-wingers who thought, oh, it would be a total demolition by Trump and Zohran, they didn't get that at all. So really wild stuff. So that's what I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm, and it helps out the channel immensely. And if you want to become a member, hit the join button below. My Patreon is below as well. So thank you guys so much for all the support. I really appreciate it. Crazy times we're living in right now, and I'll get it all right to you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you later.